Audio and video. Hello, everybody out there, and welcome to today's episode of H1Z1 Dead Feature Rant. So, we've got a couple awesome folks. We always have awesome folks. I don't know why I keep saying that. We have a few awesome folks, I should say. Of course, Reverend Kremchek, co-hosts on the left there. And above us are two lovely folks you've seen in the community. And Daddio, you've seen on here. Dephonic, have you actually been on a Dead Feature Rant yet?
No, this is the first. Fortunately, my work hours can't permit it. Got lucky this week, though.
Gotcha. Cool deal. So, today's episode 38 here, Dueling at Daybreak. Ha ha ha. Daybreak, play on words. So, Sony Online Entertainment, after 15 years of awesomeness, has moved on to a different phase. They are now under a new name, under new ownership, and should be interesting to see how things go from here. So if anybody is not familiar, Columbus Nova is the name of the investment group that purchased the former SOE from Sony Major Corporation. So it's going to be a little bit of an interesting thing, transition, the rebranding and everything going on. Right now, there's a really hilarious fan art logo on the Facebook page for the unofficial Daybreak Games logo. Some might see this as the end of an era. To me, it's more of a liberating sort of thing. Instead of being part of the Sony Corporation, they're now an independent company that is funded privately. So it's a complete change of action, change of pace for everything. And I wanted to, kind of go around the table here, not only get thoughts on this, but really get a bit of history from everybody, what all that you've played and experienced from SOE over the years. I mean, this goes back to Naris, Infantry, EverQuest, PlanetSide 1, Vanguard, Star Wars Galaxy. There are a ton of games going way back, and even the stuff that's still going. So on that,
I have a question. Really quick.
Go ahead.
Before we go around and talk about that, are you wearing a leather hat?
No, actually, this is a very special promotional hat. It's a Sony Online Entertainment hat. I got it from
cool. Okay.
Denicia a few years back in exchange for a box of beer. That was at SOE
Live
nice. 2012. It was a fun one. And, of course, also rocking the 2014 shirt here from SOE Live. And that'll be something else we'll be talking about. But just in terms of games and experience and, thoughts on the change here, starting up in the corner with you, Daddio.
Hey, what's up, people? What do you want to talk about? The changes with SOE?
A combination, what your thoughts are
Daybreak,
on that? And
Daybreak Games Company. I don't like the name. It sounds like, if you say it with a Jamaican accent, they break games, man. It sounds like they break games.
Yeah.
I'm wishing everybody the best with it, and I hope it takes off. I'm glad that they'll be able to do a lot more independent things now, which they can open up consoles with the Xbox, which should help them immensely. So, Smith already shot out one tweet, I think, maybe a little too early, but it shows they're looking in that direction.
Yeah, they're basically limited before to Sony products and PC. So I wonder if this also means they're going to try to target Mac and Linux.
I don't know. I mean, converting some of the games maybe down the road, but I don't think right away. I think they're looking to finish up PlayStation 4 and then possibly convert to Xbox first. It would be nice if they did, because I know there's a lot of Mac users that would love to have Landmark running on a Mac, or H1Z1 running on a Mac. They got the funds to do it now, hopefully, because it's a big investment company that bought them out. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Ferriotto, I love that. Daybreak Games.
Yes. So, Dephonic, how about you? What are your thoughts on all of this?
I've played just about every SOE game under the sun. I mean, EverQuest was what got me into MMOs to begin with. A lot of things that people need to think about. This is a big investment company. They just bought SOE Live. They're not like EA or any other video game company that buys up other companies, picks and chooses what they want from them, sells off the rest, lays off people. Investment companies can either be 200% amazing for the company because it liberates them from a lot of the things that they were bound by with being under Sony, such as they can only they're only going to make games for Sony and stuff like that. Now they can make games for all the consoles, any system. They're open to do anything. But what people need to understand is with investment companies, they're in it for the profit. So that can mean a couple different things. It could mean that they're going to try to profit on everything. You may even see H1Z1 be a $20 buy-in from now on instead of going free to play. Or it could mean that Landmark might be some really big thing that the investment companies think they're going to make a ton of money on. So they snatch them up. Sony, as a big company, global company, hasn't been doing well in the past 5 years. Sony in Japan is in a free fall. They're doing terrible. The Sony TVs are doing terrible. So it is nice that they got SOE out from underneath that sinking ship before that happened, and SOE can make great games now, and hopefully they could do what they want, do everything that they said they couldn't do with like Xbox One. Hey, even the Wii U, I could totally see them porting PlanetSide 2 to.
I don't know if a Wii U could run it.
I don't know, man. Did you see that new Zelda game?
Yeah, but that's the company working in an optimized environment with specific hardware. That's a little bit of a different situation. I'm not saying that it wouldn't be possible. It would be pretty cool, actually. I also don't know how Nintendo would feel about that. They usually like more family-friendly stuff, but well.
Zombie U is totally not family.
That's true.
Or family-friendly.
Yeah. Yeah, actually thinking about it, even going back to just the Wii itself, Red Steel was like, not so much the family friend. Of course, it also was a little wonky, but anyway, yeah. So going back, so you did you play like Tenaris and Infantry and stuff like going way, way, way back?
Back when they were Variant. I'm not sure if I played some of those. EverQuest, I think, was my first big game with SOE, so maybe not any of their Variant stuff.
Okay. That was actually the first game under the name SOE. When you do the tour, if you ever get a chance to do the tour of the office, they actually still have their very first servers from when they ran Tenaris. It's basically, I want to say, probably about 5 tons of metal and materials that runs about as good as a modern smartphone. So what a server was then. Yeah, it's definitely, it's a trip to see that. It's like, that could have fallen on someone and crushed them. Now it's, we have phones that do that much data. It's just nuts. It's nuts. And then in the same area, you get to see the SOB, the not finalist but contender they had for a long time in BattleBot, so that just scoops things up and drops a blade on them.
That I remember.
Yeah, that
they need to bring that back.
I wish we could see that as like a remote vehicle in PlanetSide 2 that you can use to scoop up enemy deployables and get rid of them. That'd be pretty fun. So, the switch to Daybreak. What are your thoughts on it, Reverend Kremchek? Oh, and by the way, if you guys want to jump in with anything, go ahead at any time. Now,
I talk all the time. You guys can.
I forgot to mention Daybreak is a terrible name, and I really hope they explain why they went with Daybreak. I think they could have gone with so many other names.
They said
think Sunrise was taken.
Yeah, I think they went with Daybreak because it's like the dawn of a new era or something. That they, I thought I heard something or I made something up about that. Or one of the two. Anyway, I hate the name as well. That's was my first reaction. I was like, Daybreak Game Company, really? And then I said, SOE Live. And then
you see my tweet about that, right?
I didn't.
I immediately got like 30 favorites on that and Reddit. I asked, so is there going to be a Daybreak Live 2015? This is something we all really need to know.
Yeah.
It's in the
No
works.
official response on that yet.
Well, there's an unofficial thing in the works. Brass is working with Neverett from the Landmark community, and a bunch of other people have actually jumped on now. I think Raya's working on it too. Roshan, just a bunch of people have started working on this event, a kind of a replacement if the investment company decides they don't want to allocate funds for a fan convention in Vegas in August or whatever. That's fine. We're doing our own. That's kind of how things are going.
It's still possible at this point, right?
It is.
They've said nothing's happening right now, or they've decided to put it on hiatus. But that could just be planning on hiatus.
Well,
which means it could still happen this August.
Brass is usually planning and setting things up by January and February. So usually we know about things a little bit better by the end of the month here.
Well, this sale didn't happen overnight. It's been in the works for months.
Right.
They just announced it. They took the logo down from the buildings and everything the same day. So, down the road, what happens, we're not going to know until they announce that. They've been very open with a lot of their game development, H1Z1 Landmark. They've been tight-lipped on EverQuest Next because they really want to knock our socks off when we get a chance to play that. But I think they don't want to, put the carrot in front of the horse and say, all right, we're going this way. They want to wait until the new bosses say, okay, you can now do this, or this is feasible. Players getting together to do a grassroots type of thing and get the devs and stuff to come and join a player festival or a game festival or something somewhere for Daybreak games. That would be great. Would I like to see SOE live or the equivalent of it? Yes. But it might take a year or two down the road for them to actually get it reorganized or reapproved.
The thing that I was kind of thinking about with it is I wonder if it would actually end up being the same thing but costing more. I remember in past years there's been said, time and time again, we don't make a dime off of SOE Live. We do it for the fans. We do it for the love. Mm-hmm. So if that's the case, it was said, Dephonic already said investment company, profits and stuff. So... Or was that you, Daddy-O? I don't know. I'm already...
that was me.
Yeah.
Someone said that.
I know it was said.
Well, Daff was talking about, investment
if it was a good
companies
point, it was probably me.
One of two things. They're there to make a profit first off. And either by trimming people or the budget or whatever, or by pumping out games and putting the money in to get great games. Mm-hmm. I got a feeling the first may happen before the second because, I've been in... casino industry 20-something years. I've seen buyouts after buyouts after buyouts, and the first thing every investor does is let's cut the budget so we can show a profit, because you're not going to be sold if you're making a profit.
Right.
You're in trouble. You're an asset that's not worth much. This company's going to buy you and try to do something with it. So it's just going to take time for them to go up the steps to making a profit. So I hope a lot of people survive the transaction. Yeah, because I got a lot of friends at Sony. Or Daybreak that I've made it through SOE Live, and I don't want to see those people be cut or be transferred or lose their jobs. Support their games. That's all I can say.
We don't know what happened behind the scenes. It could have been, you can have this here Daybreak Live or whatever. If you choose to get rid of 2 of your programmers or something like that, we don't know that wasn't a thing, and I would much rather them keep all of their people, of course, than give us 4 days worth of excitement.
The other thing I have to say is, if you guys do your research on the investment group that did buy SOE, they're a technology-only group, so that kind of leads me to believe that they are a long-term investor. They're not a dump and grab. They're a grab and dump. So I'm really thinking that they are going to be the long-term style investment group, which I'm hoping. And if that's the case, then I think they bought SOE for the fact that H1Z1 unofficially sold somewhere around 3 million copies in that first week. That's unofficial, but the rumors going around, somebody leaked it on the Steam, over 3 million. So we'll see about that. And then with EverQuest Next, if they could do what they're promising everybody, that game is going to be huge. It's going to be a huge money revenue. Why do you keep laughing, Raph? You're so distracted.
I just like the dump and grab.
I knew.
I'm dyslexic. I'm mind dyslexic. I say things in reverse a lot. It gets me in trouble. Now, on the other hand, with conventions, Sony can easily make a profit on this convention. Look at BlizzCon. They make money on their conventions as well. So they just have to make it so that they come out ahead with money, and I can't see why the investment group wouldn't would be on board in that. Hello, Skylatron. I know I'm sexy. And you guys got to stop laughing, man. I can't think seriously with Kremchek over here laughing like a little goblin.
Like a goblin. Huh? Oh, man.
Does this help?
Man. So, you're actually right.
One quick thing, too, if I could jump in.
Go for it.
Like I said before the stream,
I think Daddy-O's video froze.
10-ton hammer and joystick massively and stuff also just announced things, and I'm wondering if that's a ripple effect. Sony did support a lot of these independent websites for gaming news and that stuff, and they've shown Sony a lot of support. And I'm sad to see these little sites go away, like Joystick Massively and so on. As much as seeing SOE go away. SOE is going to continue under a new name, but these fan sites or news sites, they aren't, unless they want to be volunteers and not make the money like back in the old days. So, is it part of a ripple effect? All of a sudden, SOE just changed, or was that stuff in them? Who can say?
Well, yeah, and a very wise person once told me yesterday, who's sitting here, when I'm totally going to steal it, that we're just now feeling the effect of the economy crash. It just took us longer, right, Nero?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right, wise one?
Yeah. I mean, I was looking at it back in 2007. A third of the industry was less than 3-year, basically newbies. Pretty much from maybe about 2010 on, that cut in half to an eighth of the industry, and it's gone even lower since then. The industry has been feeling the effects of economic hardship, and just as everything else, it's been affected in different ways. I feel like Massively and everything being hit was kind of reaction. I'm getting some real loud noise from one of you guys in the background.
Not me.
The some sort of a reactionary sort of thing from AOL, looking at their profit margins, saying, well, wait a minute, we have like 8 different websites that are basically doing the same thing in a little bit of a different way. Let's consolidate them and just, we don't need all of them. We, just make them redirects or whatever. And I feel like that's what they did. I hate it when that sort of thing happens. It's really unfortunate because people that have worked really hard and, really done a lot of great work spreading the news, just doing things here and there, being a part of the industry, they end up being kind of fleshed out, and unfortunately fleshed out when a lot of other folks are, considering that 10-ton hammer did just have a big chunk of people knocked off last week on Monday, actually, if I'm not mistaken. So it's really rough. Like the entirety of kind of games journalism feels like it's reeling, and it's getting kind of whooped on right now financially.
Well, how do you guys feel like sites like Reddit? It seems like H1Z1 is now the main forum or the main place for H1Z1 talk, where SOE used to have their private forums. It seems like they're moving away from that now. Will they be doing that with other games? Will more developers be using sites like Reddit for their main communications?
I can honestly say yes.
Smedley, I would say, is the big reason why they went Reddit for H1Z1, but go for it, Dephonic.
A lot of these sites, like what Skylatron just said, ad blocker is, everybody has ad blocker on. It's like 80%. So a lot of these sites don't get ad revenue anymore at all. And the reason why people like Reddit is because they don't have to moderate it. People self-moderate that themselves. They don't have to employ anybody to moderate it themselves. They got, I think it's like 4 guys that I'd never heard of that are the main moderators for the H1Z1 Reddit forum. That everybody and their mother who's a gamer has a Reddit account. People hate signing up on stuff. A lot of people don't use game forums. Like, I only go on game forums when I'm, submitting bug reports, stuff like that. But I'm on Reddit every day, any day. So Smedley was kind of smart in doing it on Reddit because everybody's already on Reddit. Everybody likes going to Reddit. Not everybody likes going to forums to where they're just going to hear a bunch of people bitching and moaning about stuff. Granted, you're going to see that on Reddit, but that stuff gets nipped in the butt so goddamn quick. It's just an open community.
I feel the complete opposite.
Yeah.
I don't have a Reddit, and I would rather go to a game forum every day of the week.
Forums are dying.
I do not go on Reddit. I've been on it like twice in my life.
I agree with Skylatron. Forums are dying. Even my community. I mean, we had 1,100 people registered and stuff. Trying to get people to use forums it's a bitch. Nobody wants to use forums anymore. But hey, people go on Reddit like that.
Well, there's a bit of a difference. The one thing I'm going to say real quick and then pass it over to you, Daddy-O, is that for me, Reddit is more or less unmoderated because there's no way to keep people from downvoting things that are relevant. That's why I stopped using H1Z1 and Landmark and EverQuest Reddits for a while. I'd post something, I'd post a show announcement, I'd post something fully relevant, and it would get downvoted into oblivion for absolutely no reason. Same thing would happen even to official SOE posts made by the community manager, made by the devs, that it would get downvoted to the point where it would go off the main page. To me, that's fully unmoderated. There's 4 people trying to do their very best with a system that's kind of, as far as I'm concerned, limited to begin with. You can't actually set in your Reddit for people to not be able to downvote or limit the weighting of their downvote. So, habitual downvoters that don't really add anything aren't having as much impact as people that actually are engaged with the community. So there's a lot of issues where Reddit for me is a fail, like the ability to actually communicate worthwhile things. You try to post something relevant, it's going to get downvoted. Somebody posts like a dumb picture of a zombie with an arrow sticking out of its groin. It's like, oh yeah, that's going to get 10,000 upvotes.
Yeah, I was going to say with Reddit, there's a lot of hate on Reddit. People downvoting left and right, like you say, with the developers. I think Twitter is the best source right now, which I enjoy. It's fast. I can follow certain people from certain games, and I don't have to read everybody's comment. I can see what they have to say right away. If I choose to reply or forward, then that's totally on me. But I get to see their post or their comment right away. And that's with everything. I mean, following, half the Landmark team, half the H1Z1 team, or basically everybody from SOE who had a Twitter account, you're getting the news from that area for those games. And a lot of those people who are the employees now have their own followings where they stream, they have subscribers, they have different ways to communicate to the audiences. So in a way, they're almost like the rock stars of the next generation because they're paving the way. Okay, I'm a dev in this game. I stream on this channel, and they get enough people follow them where they get sponsored by Twitch and become a partner or Hitbox, wherever they're doing their thing at. That's up to them. They're doing something on their own. In coinciding with their job in real life. And, to me, Twitter seems the best way to get that news out there. So,
yeah,
I can see something a little different from Twitter coming out in the new future, which allows maybe a little bit longer posting,
Yeah.
So.
I think
I force myself to do Twitter, but I will not do Reddit still.
One of the major advantages to me of Twitter is connecting with people is a very quick, short-term sort of thing. You can follow somebody, they post something you don't like, you can unfollow them, it's no big deal. If they followed you back and they see that you unfollowed and they're using one of those unfollow programs, maybe they'll unfollow you, maybe they won't. Doesn't matter, who cares? It's just followers. Like that's the thing that partially is so awesome about Twitter is it doesn't matter how many people you're following. You can always make lists too if there's too much noise with all the communication, but it's the fact that there's no long-term connection. There aren't relationship statuses. It's it's not the same sort of thing as, Facebook. Looking at someone's Facebook versus somebody's Twitter, it's going to be dynamically different. I'd say the Twitter's probably going to be a lot easier to digest, especially if you're looking, long history and, stuff that they posted years in the past or whatever. Dephonic, I feel like you want to say something here.
I'm doing a little research before I was going to say it.
Okay.
So what I've been looking at, just trying to check some stuff, was H1Z1. They took down their forums 100%. There's no longer forums on their website.
Yeah.
Does anybody else see this? That their forums are completely gone? Or am I missing this?
I haven't checked yet, but they had said initially that the only forums they were going to have for H1Z1 was going to be like
okay, I lied.
Yeah, it was like tech support and stuff like that. So it was never going to be an actual place for communication. Just if you've got a bug or a tech issue, that would be a place to talk about.
Okay, I think the reason, one of the reasons why I think Reddit's a little bit better for open discussion is, so forum statistics 2000. Yeah, the amount of people on Reddit compared to their forums is pretty high. I was trying to get exact numbers, but unfortunately I'm not able to find it as quick as I wanted.
Right.
Compared to their forums, there's always 1,000+ people or so that are on the H1Z1 Reddit forums at any given time. So I'm not sure. Granted, I know if there's official news or anything like that, the moderators can post it to the top with like a 48-hour window. It becomes green. You see that happening a lot with their patch notes and whatnot. The moderators will bump it up. But yeah, there's going to be trolls. Twitter, you can't troll as much. The nice thing about Twitter is you can get the information out easy, and that's it. You could follow, unfollow people. I've always been a Redditor, so maybe I'm kind of biased. It's just, I think the one thing, from my experience, running a gaming community is, we play so many games at any given time. Registering for all the different forums, sometimes it's a little bit of a hassle, and keeping track of all the forums. The nice thing with Reddit is you join, I could join H1Z1, Albion Online, my community, my technology. I could join all those, I could subscribe to those different Reddits, and then bam, my front page has got the front news of everything that I read every day without question. So that helps a lot. So I think that's why a lot of people like Reddit. So there's always people on Reddit. Not everybody's going to chill on H1Z1. They're not going to chill on those forums and other gaming forums, stuff like that. So that, to me, is why I like Reddit.
Gotcha.
And what RSQ Viper said, Reddit is for people like their information filtered. Yes, I love that. It filters my information. It gets me what I want it, what I register to, so I know everything. So that's what I was going to say. Is what I was trying to get exact numbers on the amount of people that are on the forums, but they took it off of their side panel. It doesn't show you how many people are on their forums at any given time anymore.
Gotcha. Okay, so we actually have a poll here that Domain Night Live in HD has put up for us. He actually put it up with the response link, so let me put it up with the part where you can submit to it there. And hey, Burnt Toast. Burnt Toast was on last week. Good to see you there.
Hi, Burnt Toast.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely benefits and side drawbacks to every form of communication. Like I was saying earlier, Facebook, it's a thing. Companies have it, but show of hands here and everyone in the community, who actually looks at the SOE Now Daybreak Games Facebook pages? Not me.
Not me.
Never been there.
I pretty much stopped using Facebook. Those games that we used to play years ago, the apps, and you need 500 followers for this game.
Yeah.
Not too much of a hassle anymore.
Yeah, I know.
The other thing I want to say about Twitter is that I think Twitter is more to get the news right away, but the problem is having a discussion on Twitter is terrible.
Oh, it's so
trying
bad.
to have any type of decent conversation on Twitter is just impossible. That's why Reddit or the forums is much better. But the thing is if you need quick links and stuff like that, Twitter's amazing. you know exactly that Greg or Sony Shock they're going to post the patch notes and you can get that information quicker. But discussing that information, that's impossible on Twitter.
Yeah. And
Hey,
actually,
Reverend, you ever found a glass?
I own glasses, yes. I figured it would be much easier this way, though. What if I run out mid-show?
There you go. He doesn't want to spill it. Refilling his cup.
so he's
Yes,
actually
we need
not
more VF servers.
he's not actually Sony Shock anymore. On Twitter, he is now Shock Dev, and he's changed the name
Yeah,
on
that's what he was saying.
Twitter as well because
What was he on Twitch? What is he on Twitch? It's not Shock Dev. It's Shock.
it's
Sony Shock. So
He's
No.
Sony Shock. I don't think you could change your name on Twitch.
No, it's
You gotta
different
be
on Twitch now.
he actually
He
sent
changed
us
it.
a message.
Twitter. No, on Twitch he was Sony Shock.
Right, on Twitch he changed it, though.
yeah,
They changed it for him.
yeah.
He's Twitch something different.
Check your inbox, Graham. I
And we're
know he sent
speaking about
everyone-
Steve George.
yeah, Steve George.
Yeah.
The
I'm going to check it. Hold on.
he is the producer on H1Z1. Cool dude. He has been on here a couple of times. He actually facilitated bringing 8 people on the show a couple of months back. So, absolutely
Yep,
love
Sony
the dude.
Shock is no longer on Twitch.
Yep. Quick, somebody grab it up. Oh, so he's Shock Dev
That is
everywhere.
no longer-
Okay.
Yep, so he's Shock Dev now everywhere. No,
Really?
not
Shock
Shock Dev.
No, I didn't think so. It's not Shock Dev.
Does anybody know where he's on
JUI.
Twitch now?
I'm trying to find
No.
it right now.
I just
Alright.
looked. Shock Dev is not on Twitch.
Cool. Well,
Quick,
you know
someone
what?
check Twitter.
Yeah, well, you guys. Oh, Shock Factor. That's the one. Yes.
Shock Factor, that's it,
That's
that's
it. I was thinking Shock Force for some reason. But I knew that wasn't right. Shock Factor. Anyway,
Shock Factor.
using a landline with a rotary to get information. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Ironically, one of my friends, even after the age of modern digital things and the internet, they still kept a dial or one of the rotary phones just for the novelty of it. The thing was so annoying to call anything with. These things were terrible. Oh well. So actually, I wanted to kind of give my own thoughts a little bit on the changeover from SOE to Daybreak Game Company. So the name, yeah, we've already kind of harped on that a bit. It's kind of funny. It's a name that's really easy to make fun of. And when I think of the sound of it, Daybreak Game Company LLC. Well, they are an independent company that is privately funded, so calling them indie, like, it sounds like an indie studio name. That's just how it comes across to me. So if that's what they were
It
going
does, yeah.
for, bravo, they definitely hit the mark. But I don't know, like, we could probably DGC too close to GDC. Yes, Skylatron, you are right. I did not even think about that.
I don't think you can call that indie.
No, it's not. It's not indie, but
No, it's not indie.
I think of like an indie studio and the kind of names that they would have. Like something Forge or something Break or something Light or that's so I Daybreak. Now we've already talked about anything with break in the name generally isn't a good thing for a game studio, but people will make fun of the name of a game company regardless. Nexon, we used to call them Noxen, and various other things. So it's gonna come with things. Sony Online Entertainment. The worst thing for me was just seeing capital S, little O, capital E. No, it's not Sony of Entertainment. It's not Area of Effect. It's Sony Online Entertainment. But anyway, enough about that. So actually talking about the games, going back to Neris. My brother and I played that. We enjoyed it. I loved playing the Mag Rider. I also loved putting some of the jump jets on one of the artillery tanks, getting it up on a second floor, using the heat shells, putting them in shell camera mode so I could see where they were going, and just long range fragging people. And I would get all sorts of whines and hate tells, and what was I, like 13 or 14 at the time? So for me it was like, oh yeah, those tears sustain me, bring it. But I was always susceptible to landmines, so I could never really capture bases. A little while later, Infantry was a game that I had played. I actually played it when I was in high school because it was one of the things I could play on the school computers, and you know, I'm gonna play things on the school computers when I have free time. Why not? So, you know, kind of going through some of that. EverQuest itself, I saw my friend's brother going through 4 rooms in some dungeon trying to kill gnolls. There was nobody else there. 5 or 6 hours later, after we were finished hanging out and doing homework or whatever, was on my way out, you know, saying goodbyes to everybody. Sure enough, same dude, same place, same 4 rooms, and he apparently was elated because nobody had come and he was just having a full-on blast farming the things there. When I saw that, I was like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't play EverQuest. This was, you know, EverQuest 1. If I said EverQuest next, I'm mistaken. I was talking about EverQuest, the original, going way, way back. That's back in its early days. So I didn't play that. I didn't play EverQuest 2 except for more than a minute. I did play Vanguard. I played that in beta. I played it a little bit release. I really liked the crafting system. I really liked the harvesting system. I liked that there were different, you know, scientific structures of rock being used, like schist and gneiss and other things, and I thought that was really cool. You know, they're getting a little bit more creative with it. But apparently, Vanguard allegedly did so poorly in the eyes of SOE that they gave me EverQuest 2 and all the expansions up to that point, maybe a year or 2 down the road. So I jumped in. I had just finished World of Warcraft, jumped into EverQuest 2. It's like, you know what? I feel like I played the exact same thing with more cartoony characters. So took a little break. I don't think I played anything until Star Wars Galaxies at that point. And yes, Star Wars Galaxies. I need to pour a drink now because that's kind of how things go here. I'll have to take a break at some point for that. Star Wars Galaxies. I played it through beta. I loved everything about the crafting system. I thought there were some things with the skill system that were pretty cool. Some of the things to cause people to interact with each other was really nice. But the crafting and the harvesting and what I believe was procedural resource generation was, to me, the most amazing of things. And literally the only game I can think of that's actually even tried something that ambitious is a recent 2D sandbox called Edge of Space, which I do recommend. It's cool. If you like Terraria, definitely check that out. But, yeah, Star Wars Galaxies, played it for a bit, kind of got too busy with work, didn't really continue with it. That's fine. End of the year, PlanetSide. Everybody who had Windows XP that had bought a legit copy instead of bootlegging it, which I bought a legit copy because I actually had money to, got a copy of PlanetSide for free and 30 months of gameplay. So I jumped into it. I wasn't sure what it was.
30 months?
30 days, not 30 months. 30 months would have been awesome.
Yeah.
I jumped in, like 2 days in, some dude from some group called the Raging Primate said, "Hey, you want to join?" I was like, "Oh, sure." Not realizing that the leader of the outfit lived like 4 miles away or less, like 10 minutes away. So we would start hanging out. It was a lot of fun. Have a lot of fun with those folks. Still a member of the Raging Primates. I was just playing with them last Saturday, having a blast. Love those guys. PlanetSide 1, so much fun. Played it for a while. The good old times. There's still plenty of things in PlanetSide 2 that I wish they would take a page from PlanetSide 1. Defonic, go for it.
It was just I totally forgot about this. I have one of my best friends is an advertisement, and he pointed something out to me about this whole press release thing for Daybreak. Something like this would have had months in development, months. And isn't it kind of curious that when they did these press releases, they didn't have any kind of Daybreak logo or any kind of anything for when they did the press releases? They are their own company. What's to say that they can't change the name in a few months once they're settled down and everything? That Daybreak is just a temporary name. Because to me, it seemed like the press releases were kind of lackluster. For months in development for a buy like this, where the fuck was the logo?
Yeah, that does seem. I hope it's temporary.
I have a feeling. I have a feeling a lot of this deal was hinged on the sales numbers of H1Z1.
Yes.
And this company might have approached Sony and said, okay, look, we'll give you this amount for this company as long as your sales for H1Z1 through Steam equal or exceed this number. And that might have been the deal maker or the deal breaker, depending on H1Z1's release. That's my opinion. I mean, if you're an investor looking at something, all the hype that was generated about this game coming out to early access release, following a new model for the early access, charging people to play early access games, alpha, pre-alpha, whatever. That's the way I feel.
I have a
So I'd
question
say
about
maybe
that, though.
80% might be truth in there.
I have a question about that though, because they said when they revealed H1Z1 that they this was like the start of their new like 1 year cycle, the smaller type game with the 1 year development cycle, and is that really what is hinging the acquisition of the company? Is their new 1 year cycle kind of smaller games?
Well, I mean, if you look at other industries,
they came in and looked at EverQuest Next or Landmark or something, a bigger project, rather than look at the, one of the smaller projects that they're doing?
like I say, if you look at other industries that get bought and sold daily as a commodity, those companies that sell high produce a profit, and that's showing Ford or General Motors, who's going to buy who next. Casinos get bought and sold depending on their performance. If you're making money and the owners are happy, great. If it's not, they're going to sell it, and the people that are buying it say, well, let me wait and to see if your third quarter is going to reach this amount before I confirm that bid that I'm offering to you. Everybody's going to be watching what any industry will do. And, we didn't hear anything about this since 2 days ago. I'm sure it's probably been 6 to 8 months on the negotiation table, if not longer. So
that being said, I'm almost curious if Omid stating the reason why he left SOE was because the difference in the direction the company was going. I'm almost curious if that was the prelude to what they're going to be changing.
Could be.
You're not going to be able to confirm that, but it makes me wonder with Omid leaving and him stating that the company's direction that they wanted to go in was something he didn't want to be part of, and that definitely makes me wonder about that.
I still think that was more them trying to break away from the Insider program and take their focus away from really going strong with Twitch, as we saw, early mid last year. That was the thing I figured it was. It could be anything. I was actually thinking, maybe this is the thing that'll bring Omid back. Who knows?
Well, if you look at the numbers on the top streamers for H1Z1, I don't want to mention the top streamers' names because, I'm not sure of who's top these days. But if you have over 85,000 viewers on the day of the release of the game with as many bugs that was going through it, I would say that's a huge success because out of those 85,000 viewers watching one channel, of course, you probably got 4 or 5 streams up at one time, which is what I do when I'm watching.
200,000 was actually the count that I got.
When I stopped looking, it was at 87,000 on one stream.
Yeah, they broke records.
They broke records for numbers for people watching the game. And H1Z1 is probably the top viewer count of all time right now until the next greatest best thing comes out. Mm-hmm. But showing those numbers to an investor might have solidified a deal for X amount of dollars more than what they offered. So there's a lot of potential. And Sony, like someone said earlier, was bleeding as a company itself between Sony Pictures, Sony Television, Sony Appliances, Sony Gaming, Sony Movies. A lot of stuff went bad for them in the last year. So I'm just wondering if the back of the TVs in H1Z1 will still have Sony.
They probably should. It wouldn't. That's the thing, is they're not going to remove anything. They're not going to rebrand assets that they've already got. They might keep that, just for kicks. They technically still own the, maybe they still own the actual logo itself. So if that's the case, and the logo and some of the branding stuff, they might not be able to say Sony anywhere. but they can change that to Sani or whatever one of the ones that like Game Dev Tycoon or whatever uses. But they can still definitely keep SOE and use that. They can use that as basically their Acme or whatever. It's, SOE brand box of broken glass. SOE brand. They could just make a joke. I just have fun with it. All of the previous assets that existed, though, all of the flags and the signs and all of that stuff, props that we had in all the previous games, those are not going anywhere. They're going to retain all of the charm and stuff that they had when they were made, and that's intentional. There's no reason to change that stuff. That's legacy stuff.
Well, it's just like when Star Wars was still around. You had all those veteran awards, after so many years of playing that no one else had, and you could sell something really good in game and get a lot of money for it in game. So I can see some of those items becoming very collectible down the road in Landmark and stuff like that. So, or the H1Z1, if they don't have anything specific at H1Z1, but Landmark has, the SOE Live 2014 dagger with the banner on it. And that's tradable, and that could be worth something down the road.
Yep, SOE Live 2014. Yeah, we already talked about that a little bit. SOE Live. If they do actually see the value in and decide to go forward with a convention or an expo or something, SOE is actually a big campus, and if they're actually getting more resources allocated to them for consoles and distribution across multiple platforms, I would imagine they're going to go back to 4 buildings. They consolidated to 3 buildings, I believe last year or the year before. It was like a QA building, I believe, that QA and maybe a couple other things that was consolidated into some of the other stuff. And I could see them actually getting the funding to take over that 4th building again, use it as a combination of a place for events, or just use their parking lot for events because it's honestly nice enough. Or possibly just expanding out to it and having room for all the console people and everything to work, assuming that they aren't going to start doing more offsite stuff and have third parties involved with the process of getting all of that stuff worked out, because there might be third party agencies out there that specialize in taking a proprietary engine and porting it to Mac or Xbox or whatever.
Well, just like you were saying, I mean, at the launch party for Landmark, they had the on-campus open house. I believe you were there. Yeah. I think I saw you on their stream. That was a nice event. Nice thing they could do on their property. And there were, maybe 250 people that I saw right around the tent area and everything, which probably a lot more than that were there behind the scenes. But maybe they do that, this year and start again like Fanfare. That's how it started. Come meet the devs, talk about the games we're creating. H1Z1, if they do something specifically like a H1Z1 com, you're going to attract a lot of people just for the one game. They did have the great benefit of having multiple games at their event because they have a nice portfolio of games to update it with, to show off, to say, hey, if you like this game, you might want to play this game. EverQuest, as you say, started off as a non-Sony product, but they bought the rights and everything to it and pushed it forward. And I mean, I'm just seeing. I want to see next come to fruition, and I also have to wonder about some of the games that were already on the PS4 for some of the games SOE has, like DCUO. Probably more than half of their players are on PS system, either PS3 or PS4. How's that going to affect the communications? Now having a so-called independent company now going through PS4 channels. They used to have to jump through the same hoops. Is there going to be more to jump, or is it going to be less complicated? For H1Z1 to get on PS4 a year now, or maybe 2 years.
I'm curious. Also, is this investment firm, have they bought any other gaming companies? I'm curious.
The company
about
that did, I want to say, Rock Hero or Guitar Hero or something was bought out They did some kind of musical video game. A studio that did one of I think it was Rockstar, not Rockstar.
Guitar Hero or Rockstar?
Guitar Hero or something like that. They
Guitar
bought them
Smith.
out.
That because that also being saying, I'm
Harmonix.
almost curious if
Harmonix?
they're going to open up any
Harmonix,
other game development, because SOE was always in San Diego and that was it.
No,
I'm
Austin.
Curious.
No,
The
SOE has
DCO
Austin.
stuff is in
They've
Austin,
had them
yeah.
for
Okay.
And I
quite a few years
think
now.
Austin also
Planets-
had Puck Snore and some other stuff for a little while.
Yeah, they had a couple games being developed down there, and DC was the one that took off in the main office now for Austin.
Okay.
So.
I was just curious if maybe they're going to do, other offices, or if that investment group is going to get any other game developers anytime soon.
I actually think what's going to happen is that they're going to push SOE the direction of licensing the Forge Light engine. It is a beast of an engine, whether it's the voxel version or not. It is a powerful engine. It can do a lot of stuff. It's really nice, and it's shown that it can hold massive numbers of players in pretty good fashion. So just alone, that was one of the things I figured, that and the cybersecurity, the anti-hack stuff, because that is one of the things they invest with in their portfolio. It's one of the things that they've got is some security companies. vArmor is one of them. I can remember off the top of my head. There's some other security stuff and data management stuff. So part of it could also be that they use SOEs, or the former SOE, now Daybreak, as the testing grounds, the proving grounds for a lot of this stuff, developing things for games. They try it with their own game company first before they try to release it to the public, and anything that Daybreak has already got, they can utilize, leverage, integrate into their own stuff, and it could potentially be a really powerful system. It's there's a lot of stuff that they we just don't know what exactly their angle is, and what angles in particular they were looking for. That's another thing. Yeah, PlanetSide Guinness World Record for largest online battle. That between that and H1Z1, they've got some big records they can hold their hat on. One of the longest running MMOs.
Could you imagine a Battlefield or Call of Duty style game with that engine?
It would be awesome. It would be. I would actually play it. I would actually finally play one of those.
Like insanely huge city-wide battle, like maps, to where 500 versus 500.
Well, actually, give me an island, a landmark island with tanks and things that are going to deform the terrain, and no healing and regeneration of the terrain. Deformations are permanent, but maybe there's volumetric deformation, so when you blast out a crater, an equal amount of dirt and chunks get spread out, so it's still there, it's just in a different place. That
would have been really nice in H1Z1 when you put down the landmine and the crater stayed there.
Yeah,
after someone tripped.
Yeah, I am kind of curious as to why they didn't go with that. At least like destructible environments and stuff. I am very curious about that, because the game seems to do very poorly when you have more than 10 people within your draw distance as of right now.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably why they don't have the destructible terrain.
That's what I was thinking. I was just curious about that.
I think they were saying that they weren't going to have that anyway, just because of the kind of game it is. It's not that they don't want you to do that. They don't want that to be the focus of the game. It's like restructuring everything around you and building.
I just
like
want
that.
the zombie hordes. I want to be more afraid of the zombies than somebody shooting me.
Oh yeah.
Because as of right now, I absolutely love the game, but to me right now it's Ward C with base building.
Well, have they already done it, or are they just talking about doing it later with the wiping all the guns off the map and everything?
They're going to be doing a wipe. I'm surprised they really haven't done one yet. I think on Twitter, coming soon.
Yeah, he said you've got a week, so
like
take
that.
your screenshots now. I believe is what he said.
Yeah, if you got a nice something,
to me,
take it now. I mean, I'm really surprised they haven't done several wipes by now. And I'm hoping that, as the game progresses, all these crap shacks and buildings that people are putting to grief people from getting inside stuff, to have a good rate of decay. Because in Star Wars Galaxies, you used to see the harvesters and the houses and everything all over, and they would never go away. And, even though you didn't pay rent and stuff like that on it, they stayed there, and they were eyesores. until I think close to Twilight, when they finally fix some stuff for the stuff to, despawn after maintenance went to whatever. But I'm hoping that H1Z1 has a faster decay cycle.
Well,
I mean, the weapons, tools, they're breaking left and right. So, buildings and doors, they should be the same.
Sir Donut.
Go ahead.
The reason why I can compare it right now is because I'm more afraid of the players than I am of the zombies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with zombies, I could take them out with a bow, bam, 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 headshot.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy with the zombies. Like, I'm not afraid of the zombies at all. Like, I don't think I've been killed by a zombie if I've been paying attention at all. Now, with humans, though, I mean, somebody, I could be looting a car and I can get shot by a 308 from somebody, 60 meters behind me, behind a tree. And, people do stuff like that. So that's why I'm kind of comparing it to War Z right now. Until the fact that I could build a base and feel safe in that base, and then when I see zombies and somebody shoots a gun next to me, I need that heart-racing moment to where I'm going to go, guys, we got to get the fuck out of here right now because there's going to be about 60 zombies crawling down our throats in about 30 seconds.
Well, from my last time I played was a couple days ago, I think Friday, and firing my pistol at zombies attracted more zombies, which was great because the more noise you make, the more they should gather around you or your crew, or at least in the area looking for the noise source. I'm hoping they really intensify that. Because if someone shows off, takes a shotgun and kills me, I want the zombies to hear that, start heading their way so that they don't get away with my loot.
I mean, my perfect fantasy for H1Z1 is having 15 of us in our community be able to get enough mats to make like a concrete sanctuary to where bandits and nobody can kill us. But the fact is you still need to get supplies. And when I go to Pleasantville, I want to see like 100 zombies. Easy, just chilling there. And going to get, resources or anything from Pleasant Valley needs to be a very hard endeavor. You need to be like, all right, Daddy-O, it's your turn to be the guinea pig. You run through the zombies and attract them while we loot. You gotta have that like feeling of accomplishment of doing something in the game.
Yeah, well, right now with all the AI I've seen, they are very buggy just for pathing. You can run into a building, go up the stairs, and either the wolf or zombie that was following you goes under the building. You think it's safe to leave, and all of a sudden you go down the steps, and they're there chewing your leg or clawing you from the back. Hopefully today's patch I haven't played it today after the patch, but hopefully some of those things were fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also want to see a forge system. There needs to be a forge system to make ammo, the tools and stuff like that. I'm sorry, but a stick and a iron bar is not going to make a hammer that lasts more than 2 seconds.
It's a tough stick.
True. I would love to see if you guys played 7 Days to Die, that forging system. They need to take that type of forge system, put that in H1Z1, and then make that even more fleshed out and better.
That could be pretty cool. Yeah, so there's something you were saying earlier, one of you guys was saying that I kind of wanted to address a little bit, was the idea of destroying structures, taking down structures that have been built. I feel like there's kind of two ways that it should be approached, is that destroying versus deconstructing should be completely different considerations with different tools and different heat and stuff to them. But basically, it's if you want to take something heavy and smash on part of it until it's destroyed, you can totally do that. It's going to create a lot of noise, but if it's already damaged, maybe you hit it with an explosive first and you're just trying to bust the rest of the wall down. It might not be too bad to do at that point. What I would rather see, though, is the ability to deconstruct something, to have maybe some sort of prying device, whether it's a crowbar, a long screwdriver, whatever it is. And it takes a while. It should take a while to actually craft a shack, to craft a door from the materials. It should take a few minutes, actually. Likewise, I feel like it should take a few minutes to actually deconstruct a building. If you get it partway through, you get some of the resources and you've inflicted some damage on it, but it isn't completely taken down. It's something where you just need a wood board real quick. There's some dude's house that's totally, there's nobody there. You just go off and pry off a wooden board. There you go. You can use it for whatever you need it for.
I agree. I'd also like to.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say wooden boards also need to be added as a weapon. I mean, come on. It's a freaking 2x4. Those things are sturdy as hell.
Yep.
Those things are going to last forever. You got a hammer? Okay, that'll last until it breaks. You got a 2x4? It is not going to break. You could have two people hold it, actually chasing head on at a charging bear, and the bear is going to hit its head on it. You're all going to stop, and the board's just going to be like, hey, I'm a 2x4. Remember me? I'm tough as hell. So that definitely
Bears need to be nerfed.
I don't think so. I disagree with that.
They're
I think
a raid
the bears
boss.
are, if you're out there trying to fight a bear, unless you got the gun to take it down, you better be running. Right now, I think it's 3 shots to the head will kill a bear, or basically 3 arrows. So, I mean, you can take one down your own. I've done it once, but I think the bears are probably the most. The zombies should be as bad as a bear.
Bears seem to bug out way too much for me. Like the fact that they can go through doors and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say the only thing that needs to be nerfed is their ability to port into structures.
What I was gonna say for crafting, like you're talking about, should take a couple minutes. Let's go with the raised platform. Something that big should take like 20 minutes to make. Now, on that fact, I don't want to see complete stuff like that. I mean, if we're going to be making wood planks and stuff, let us build the pillars, and you actually have to like connect the pillars and then put down a floor. Something that
the forest
takes a group of people quite some time to put in. So you can make a huge like raised platform. You just have to put enough posts in. You got to put the support beams, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then that being said as well, I really want to see concrete. Like put a lime quarry in, put some type of, you got to go get lime, you got to go get sand, you got to go get some rocks and then water, mix up, and then you actually make the molds. I want to be able to put a base anywhere with concrete walls and stuff like that. I want to see that crafting that they promised, to where you'd be like a community is going to make this badass base. Do you guys remember some of the pictures they showed like last year for H1Z1?
Yeah.
Where these bases had like 2 layers, had walls going all the way around that? You can't do that right now. I want to do that. I would like
to see it, upgrades to it. Start off with your wooden walls, metal walls,
modular. Yes.
Correct. Yeah, modular. Like lethality gaming. Like when we get like 15 people together, I want to be able to build a huge like our own city. Like if you're a Walking Dead fan, I want to see Treetop or Hilltop Village built in the game.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah. Man, yeah, that's that definitely. I like the modular. I kind of shouted out the forest there. That's a game I can think of that definitely does that. You have to grab 2 logs and then walk them over somewhere and then stick them in the ground.
The forest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Love that game.
Yeah, it's such a very physical sort of action to do as a character. I really like the way it's depicted there too.
One of the things Dephonic said with the base building, you wanted to take 20 minutes to craft that platform. Well, within that 20 minutes, you're going to be making a lot of noise, so you should be attracting a lot of zombies.
Yeah.
I feel you should have players with you while you're crafting just to protect your ass.
Yeah.
So you can get that platform up, or you can put that wall up,
Going back to some early Dead Feature rants here, group crafting. I've always wanted the ability for you to start a project and other people to jump in and help you and get it done faster. Possibly it's something where you start it with one set of tools, they have a completely different set of tools that instead of just doubling the rate, it quadruples the rate. A lot of times
Go ahead. Life is Feudal had a system very similar to that. You could have one put down the foundation, but anybody that had a mallet can contribute the materials. And then once the certain set amount of materials was reached, the last person to hit that nail in, the wall would go poof, and there it is. It's completed.
I would like to see it like the forest. If you've played the forest, you decide where you're going to place it down. If you don't like it, you can take it down again. You place it, and then once you know where it's going to go, it tells you. So say like that base needs 100 lumber. Everybody in your group runs, chops down trees, makes lumber, and then they keep adding that lumber. Everybody works on that platform at once. That should be a group effort to do.
For sure. And I guess one other aspect to it, just doing things, 2 people working on it versus 1 person working on it, that alone should really it should significantly increase the rate that you do something. I can think of a lot of things that maybe working with somebody else, like if I was crafting an arrow, maybe somebody else working with me on it isn't going to help, but it's such a short cycle thing that they're not really going to have the opportunity to jump in. But I'm looking over here. There's a door. I think about the idea of hanging a door by yourself versus a hanging door with two people. By myself, sounds like fucking hell. With two people, easy peasy. I've done it with two people before. It was easy. I've never tried to hang a door. And I'm talking about a door where everything's already, the hinges or everything are set. I'm just putting it back. I'm not talking about actually aligning things and making sure everything, that's some shit right there. That is not easy to do. If you've never hung a door from scratch, especially doing it solo, good freaking luck. That's not easy to do. So the idea that players are able to, build a door and put it up very rapidly, to me, just that alone, it seems like quite a difficult sort of thing, in real life terms. Yes, DK, door hell, exactly. Instead of a doorbell, door hell.
Well, like Wags is saying, one person shouldn't be penalized, which I agree. It just takes one person longer to do something that the group can do.
Much longer.
Might take you 20 minutes compared to a group 5 minutes.
Right, exactly.
And that really encourages group stuff. Like, you're out on a PvP server, you were trying to craft something in an area, someone comes up and is like, oh damn, yeah, we really need shelter. You want to build a shack, they want to build a shack, you're not trying to gank each other, but you're sitting there, trying to put all the parts together. If it's something that they could help you with in any way other than, of course, chopping down more trees. And, that's actually something else. I don't want to diverge too much here, but I've noticed sometimes you'll never see a zombie in the wilderness for many, many minutes until you chop down a tree, and then suddenly zombies. Just,
I have noticed that.
Yeah, it's just the idea of even crafting something, I think, should really be significant. In fact, crafting something should probably take up more noise than gunshots, even, because you're just sitting there banging on something with a hammer, sawing away at something. You're just sitting there perspiring, putting your human stink out there.
It's the continuous noise rather than the one.
And somebody brought up I forgot who it was because chat was going by a little quickly. To not penalize the single player. I'm sorry. Have you watched The Walking Dead or any kind of zombie flick? You're a single player, you're playing this game by yourself. You are the worst off. I think single players really need to find a group of friends to play with. And, people are KOSing now, correct. But when they get it to the fact of where you need to work with people, you're going to be like, hey, guys, I'm friendly. You want to work together? Let's, I'm tired of dying by zombies. Zombies need to make people want to find other people to play with.
Right, exactly.
Right. But this game is built purely on PvP. I'm going to kill you, take what you have, or die trying.
Right now,
and that's what they've pushed this game from day one for. I mean, even back when Smed was talking about it at SOE Live, it's, PvP, in your face, knockout punches, grab and run. If you have a group of people, great. You're going to split that loot between the people that just killed that guy, So there's your player cooperation. I mean, any stream I watch, you just see people killing other people for fun. That's the fun of the game. They want to play PvP. I'm going to take it. And there's other games like Rust and other games out there, 7 Days Die, or I can't think of the other one. But, these games are now what's popular. You might not have to, like they're saying with the airdrops, you might not have to run to that airdrops. Just see who's getting the most loot, getting away, track down that person, and kill them. And a lot of players have done that. So,
yep, it's a good way to get that loot. Go for it.
We talked about this last week a little bit, making it so, like Defonic keeps bringing up Walking Dead or what would really happen or whatever, and like I was saying last week, people that are of no threat to anyone are going to be killing people that are of no threat to anyone. So two people that are unarmed aren't just going to fist fight to death in the apocalypse. It's just not going to happen because nobody has anything to gain. You're only going to risk something if you have something to gain. And someone who has everything is not necessarily just going to walk around spraying bullets in a crowd of people that aren't going to be able to give them anything. They are going to strategically kill people or whatever, strategically assign people. I'll give you food and water and guns and everything, or probably not guns. I'll give you food and water and shelter and everything, but you have to do this for me. It's not going to be like, oh, look, everyone's dead.
Yeah.
Well, don't forget, the governor did kill his whole entire town, basically. Took him to war with the prison and then shot him dead on the road.
Yeah.
So there are players like that in the game, and
right.
That's what's good about this game. You can
but
be
that's what everyone's
cooperative.
like is the problem right now.
Yeah, and like I said, people are just running over people in cars for the fun of it. You'd be running down the road. I've jumped over, guardrails because I see a car coming. I'll run up the hill and get behind a tree. They'll chase me through the woods, and it's like, why? Just to kill me? Hopefully you're going to loot me, but no, they just drive away. Ha, I got you.
Yeah.
See people spawn right next to me, and all first thing they want to do is they want to fight. Hey, I just spawned too, so go ahead. I'm not losing anything.
I've had someone chase me for 15 minutes, me saying, hey, I don't have anything. I have nothing. And they're just okay, but this is wasting your time.
Now, I remember running for as much stamina or energy as I had because I had a backpack, and the guy was shouting, I want your backpack. And it's like, you got to get me first.
Right.
It's mine.
And we actually...
that also is
that's
happening.
something that would be more likely to happen, though. I mean, you see two people that have nothing but the clothes on their backs, they're probably not going to be fighting. They're going to say, hey, let's go take out that guy. And then we'll split it up and go our separate ways.
Yeah.
Or once we get it, I'll kill you and take it all.
Yeah, that one too. It's one of those things. If somebody gets damaged in one of those sort of things, it's always on the other person. You're like, well, do I want to let that guy live, or do I just want to do the quick finish off and take it all for myself? Because everybody's worth at least a few pieces of cloth. I refuse to be that guy that rips up all of his clothes for a satchel and a bow. I would much prefer actually having insulation, because when that stuff matters, you don't get my shirt, you don't get my pants when I die. So you're going to be sitting there naked in the cold with the satchel and a bow and your junk in your hands. Be like, oh, damn, that was a bad decision.
Well, I'm hoping they bring in the weather effects soon, where
weather.
The rain's going to make you sick, the cold's going to make you sick, so the more clothing you have on, the better off. Whether it's a shirt.
Wait for winter.
It's just one of those things where based on the people playing this game, God forbid if there's ever a national power outage and mass looting and rioting, because I'm sorry, I'm going to be one of the people. I'll shoot first if you come into my house.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree. We should make a lethality contingency plan that if ever goes into apocalypse, we as a community, as a guild, will meet at such and such, and everybody bring provisions, because I'm going to be
asparagus. Asparagus.
What the fuck is he shouting that for? It's our safe word. Don't shoot him.
Oh man.
Oh man, I wish I was recording that, dude. There's a bunch of guys in Cranberry, and I'm running towards Spooty, and I'm like, asparagus, and then like two people queue up and go, the fuck just happened? Why is that guy running down the road shouting asparagus? So, but awesome. Yeah, I'm with you, Daddy-O. Games like this tell me that everybody and their mother is out for themselves. If you don't have people to trust right away in the very beginning, it is everybody for themselves.
That's actually my point. It's not in your best interest to just kill random people when they have nothing.
But you don't know that they have nothing.
Yeah, that's
well,
true.
In real life, you can see that they have nothing.
Well, in real life, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, everyone's out for themselves, and that's how it's going to be in real life, and that's how it's going to be in the game. But in a game, obviously, you don't know. You could probably see that they don't have much, but that everyone's out for themselves. You're out to make yourself better, not to just risk yourself for the possibility of nothing.
What I imagine is dude wearing many layers of stuff, backpack and all, but mostly he's got a shotgun and a couple boxes of shells, and it's just kind of laid out across the front of his shopping cart that has everything that isn't on his back and on his body. And, he's just carting around. He's, looting as he needs to. Anybody comes close enough, raise the gun. They come closer, he'll fire. That's the sort of thing. Shopping carts, wagons, that sort of stuff. That's definitely something I want to see somewhere down the road. Right now, the only moving storage we have is vehicles, and as soon as that thing flips, there goes all your loot.
Why?
Well,
Why?
even stashes. I've made several stashes across the maps on the servers that I play. And I try stashing stuff as much as I can because I know when I die, okay, I can get a plastic water bottle over here just to get, hydrated, or a couple cans of food when I'm needing it here. So I want to see more of that. I want people have caches all over so, they're happy to find stuff. You ever go looting and find 6 sticks in a chest or a dresser? I'm like,
people
okay.
do that all the time. I want to be able to go into town, take a child's radio flyer, and be able to pull that behind me with like stuff in it. It's got a big inventory.
Yes.
And so I'm just a guy running around town with a radio flyer.
Yeah. The Red Rider wagon. That's
He's
the
got
one
a
I brought
shouting
up.
asparagus
and cat food in it.
Or even a baby stroller. I think that one's the best because it's got this very there's not a baby in it. You don't know what's in it, but that's not a baby in it. It's like, do you even want to approach to find out?
I think I'm going to have Solid State make us an H1Z1 shirt for the cons that shows the guy putting his hands up like this, and then asparagus above his head. That's
There you go.
Well, that's something I hope to see that they change with the H1Z1. I want to be able to apply the skins that I want. I mean, I know we all had a few crates, and everybody probably spent a few bucks on keys so far to unlock the crates to get these clothing items. Yeah, I want to see that stuff tradable, but I'd rather just have a cash store and not leave it up to random chance. Yeah, crates would be great, but I want to buy certain outfit or a certain
think it's
hat,
coming. I think it's coming. I don't think
they
they've linked it up yet.
Yeah, they said that you're going to be able to buy individual articles of clothing, and then you can have a set standard to what you're going to spawn into. Because what would be really nice, I'd pay $100 for it if to get their graphic people to make like a certain shirt, so that
I don't see any problem with this game having decals in it, allowing us to put decals. If they have an emote giving you this, laughing in your face while someone's shooting at you, you're not going to mind a graphic on someone's T-shirt of a Cthulhu head or a shotgun or whatever emblem you decide your guild or your group wants to wear.
To an extent,
a naked lady not going to offend anybody that small on the chest of a shirt.
Fascist imagery still does count though as things that probably shouldn't go in the game. They've already said about religious imagery, keeping that stuff out, and it is very much a minimum in H1Z1. I'm gonna find my own way to make a menorah for Hanukkah. Come the end of the year, or whatever. It'll be fun. It'll be an interesting challenge. But in terms of, as far as I'm concerned, the most inappropriate thing you can really have in any game is fascist content, whether or not you're actually depicting them as a good guy or just as someone who's playable. It kind of goes into a direction of not necessarily profanity, not necessarily vulgarity, but you're letting players identify with hate groups. That's if people are going to have their hate groups in the game, let it be a role play sort of thing. We don't like people with orange shirts, you see. That's fine. Do that, or people without beards, and you just have to. Everyone in that group's going to be killing everyone else because nobody has a beard.
Well, maybe have a certain server where you spawn in an orange jumpsuit. That means you've got out of a prison. You spawn in a police outfit. You're a cop. You have to try, and like they're saying, there's role-playing servers. Why not make situational servers where if you're an escaped convict, you're going to try, doing what you can to survive, but yet there might be a cop or a fireman on that server that's going to say, hey, do we really want to trust this guy or shoot him on sight or whatever? I think that would be a nice set of server rules if they ever come out with down the road.
That would be fun server rules. Like put a specific guideline to who you can kill and such in what circumstances, and if you break those rules, then you die or you just get bounced off that character and you got to start over. That could be really fun.
You know what's gonna happen though? You come in with a jumpsuit. Oh hell! I'm gonna tear this up and make me a satchel.
Hey.
Exactly what's gonna happen.
I am definitely
But the
curious.
base clothes.
You
I mean,
still got
you
your
can't run
shackles,
around
right?
naked in this like you can in Rust. So you still have that orange jumpsuit on regardless. Or that police outfit regardless. Just basing on what you spawn as on your next life. I think it might be interesting, because a cop might actually start the gun in 3 bullets, One of the games I played recently is Stranded, The Deep, and you can fall out of a palm tree and break bones.
Nice.
I would like to see that in H1Z1. If you fall or jump or roll down a hill, instead you can break a bone. So you might not be able to run anymore. Now you got to limp everywhere,
The guy that said he's doing the wellness system says they have a lot of that stuff planned to where you will have to make splints, you will have to bandage, stuff like that. He said there was stuff like bleeding out, which is already in the game, sprains, breaks, and then you have to be wellness. You'll actually get sick in the game to where you actually have to do the cold medicine that you find around the multivitamins.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna have to stay warm. You'll have to stay cool. They're planning a whole lot of wellness. The stuff that's in the game now is very, very basic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the wellness system. I remember. I can't remember who it was in particular who worked on that. I want to say it was Ryan Shannon, but I feel like
I can remember his face, but I couldn't.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head. It was the QA session they did in November, if anybody's wondering. It's definitely available on the H1Z1 YouTube page and probably some other places. In talking about this, though, I actually thought about something to be a really interesting sort of PvP server. Basically, everybody is a prisoner. Everybody comes in wearing an orange jumpsuit and already shackled in handcuffs. So you're limited in what you can do. You can do like a two-handed smack, and that's about it. You can do that and a push. Other than that, you actually either need to find a key, find somebody with a key, or find somebody with a saw, and basically they have to remove that from you before you can actually be relevant in the server. That way, when you shackled in their orange jumpsuit, that person, there is no possibility that person can be a threat, and for them to become a threat, I would have to actually, help them out first. So that would it would create an interesting situation because, there'd be just as many people that actually want to try to help people as there are people that just, just want to, what's it called? Let them die or kill them. Watch them run around. You light them on fire, watch them run around, and let them be an aggro sync for you. Just they go one way, you go the other, and that's that. Dephonic.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that would be awesome. I also want to see other battle royales. Right now, I think it's after playing the battle royale like 2 or 3 times, it's fun and stuff. Somebody on Reddit had a really cool idea of doing the whole maze runner thing, to where the whole battle royale is actually in a maze. So, like, a group of people start off, in the maze, and they have to find their way to the center and stuff like that, but along the lines of killing everybody else on the way.
That's pretty cool. That'd be interesting.
I've watched a few streams of people playing the battle royale, and I mean, it pays to have friends. If they get in together on the same match, there's 2 or 3 people working together. Definitely has an advantage. Or even if you can find them, in the battle royale server. I sort of wish that they would say, okay, on those servers, make your energy and health or stamina, whatever, just for those servers, disappear quicker. Because waiting in a 2-hour queue to get into a battle royale match sometimes.
Oh, you can get
really
into a battle
sucks.
royale match every 5 minutes now.
I was at like an hour and a half the other day, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, just leave the queue and just join it when you hit it. You just got to keep hitting the servers up and down. Wait for the battle royale to go up. Double click, and then bam, you're in. And then the question that I've seen this question a couple times, people asking, if they'll ever get like the Star Wars back. No, Disney
Lucas, yeah, that's not.
Yeah, Disney's very, very tight on who they give licensing to.
I think they were already pissed that there is some point where you could actually walk next to Darth Vader and the Emperor in Star Wars Galaxies. At one point, it might have even been a glitch to actually get in and clip through something to get to the place where they're at. But you totally could, and it's like, no way. There's no way anybody's getting close to those two, unless you're one of those dudes in the fancy red garb with the lightsabers, the guard dudes or whatever. That's about it. Them and like maybe officers at a meeting. So that right there was something that really kind of broke the logic.
I mean, if the new investment groups wants to approach Disney with an idea and saying, we would love to get the license, this is what we're going to do with the game, and has something substantial to show them that is not as rail-like as Star Wars: The Old Republic, because I feel that game was on rails in a way.
No, it was.
I would love to see them take a shot at a new Star Wars game with their past experience. And basically, because of The Old Republic is, the newest game came out, Lucas wasn't going to renew their contract with them and all that stuff because the new game's coming. They didn't want the competition. Don't forget, they also had the Clone Wars Adventures game that's coinciding with Free Realms. Based off the cartoons, that's where we had that game running, which they twilighted.
Both of them
even
at the
after
same day.
Star Wars, they were gone. They were both good games. Maybe they can do something in H1Z1 along those lines, make it a bit more cartoonish and a bit less hostiles to get the younger players to play, where they're not a bunch of punk-ass bitches.
I think if they're going to be doing something sci-fi at this point, I think they would go the route of the voxel engine, the voxel Forge Light engine. Specifically because we've already seen amazing sci-fi stuff. In fact, I would say the sci-fi stuff in Landmark is actually better than the fantasy stuff. Some of it is just truly amazing.
Yeah.
And because we've got the emitters and we've got all the linking and triggering and stuff working out, it really, really looks very much the part. It's everything fully functional. It's totally awesome. But I guess in terms of... it wouldn't be a Lucas property. If they were going to try to approach something like Star Wars Galaxies or Clone Wars, it would have to be something under a different name, different models, different branding and stuff. And we don't know if it would be any way as successful. But, it's definitely an interesting thing for them to consider. And now that things have kind of gone a little bit of a different direction, they can kind of make some of those choices, or their investment overlords can kind of make some of those choices for them. It'd be
I
interesting.
guarantee that Disney is already shopping for a new game to come out with the release of the new movies. You're going to get something on the consoles, Xbox and PlayStation 4, mirroring the movie's adventure. If they're looking for, PC MMO again, I don't know, but they might. They're going to have the standalone for the new movie.
It wouldn't be or it wouldn't be Daybreak then. They don't do standalone games. They haven't done standalone stuff for a while.
No.
So it would be
Nope.
it'd probably be at least a 2-year production pipeline just to actually start the process of making something of the single player standalone nature.
They already are.
Okay.
Yeah, last I heard they have like 3 or 4 licenses out, but they're only to companies that they deem worthy. They hold their cards very, very tight.
I didn't even know about that. That's awesome.
Yeah, they got a lot of things in works. I want to say the director or one of the producers mentioned that they have a lot of tie-ins. The next 3 episode movies are going to be coming end of, I think it's this year. It's 2015.
Is it?
Yeah, I think at the end of this year is the first one. Then 2017, 2019, and then each year in between is going to be a single single one. I think the Han Solo single show is going to be 16, and they're going to be doing stuff like that. And they said that they're going to have a lot of tie-ins with games and handhelds and stuff.
Yeah, did they also say they were going to have a live action TV show?
That is the big rumor.
That was said a while back, and they've mentioned it here and there.
Ewoks Battle for Endor. Woo! Ewoks.
Hey, well, I mean, if you look at shows like they have today with the Flash and the Arrow and all these other shows going on for the younger audience, I'm going to say people, into the geek stage, the comic books and stuff like that, the superheroes. These are good TV shows. These are getting viewers. I mean, they're in 3 seasons now. A lot of these shows don't get past their first season or their pilots. Look how long Lois and Clark or Smallville ran.
7 years and 10 years.
Yeah, so I mean, if they get a good show theme going for a Star Wars TV show, I think it'd be great. I mean, how long was Babylon 5 on? How long
5
was
years.
Farscape on?
5 years.
Atlantis, Stargate.
4 years,
all the
10 years.
yeah. I mean,
You have all the memorized.
I watch a lot of
I could get
TV.
pumped about.
I watch a lot of TV.
I could never tell.
Oh. Telltale Games present Star Wars. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I could see that.
Yeah, Gotham doesn't even have Batman in it yet, but it's
I
still a
love
good
Gotham.
show.
They're making a live-action X-Men movie. Fox has ordered the preview, so they're doing X-Men live-action TV show.
Hey.
There you go.
Oh man, I miss Sequest.
Sequest.
No, I mean, Sci-Fi Channel has what is that? Z Nation.
It's
The
terrible.
TV show?
I can't get into it.
Yeah, but I mean, they could sell the rights to H1Z1 and say, hey, let's do a weekly TV show. Survivor Story. Something similar to Walking Dead. Hopefully as good as Walking Dead, but they do have a license here now that they can sell out or produce with if they wanted to.
Yeah, Walking Dead's got it's already its spin-off TV show. It's supposed to be airing in the fall. I think that takes place in LA.
Something on the West Coast, I heard. Yeah,
Yeah, it was like LA.
another set of survivors or group.
Yeah, but then they can do whatever they want because they don't have to go off of the books.
The Rick and all that stuff.
That's why I don't like the Walking Dead TV show. They rape the graphic novels. Sad face.
Oh well. I mean, everything gets changed a little bit with the media here and there. Game of Thrones, everything else. But something actually I wanted to comment on. Yeah, Disney definitely does shop for third parties and stuff to make their games. I actually worked at a studio a couple years back that worked on. It was a Star Wars speeders game for tablets, and I didn't actually work on the game. I brought the tablet home that had it and was doing some other testing, and I happened to play an earlier build of it. And it's like, yeah, okay, that's kind of cool. This is a teeny tiny studio getting a license to make a product that's going to be in the hands of potentially millions of people. So yeah, it's they'll go high and low. They'll go all sorts of different places. Now, kind of going back in the day when George Lucas was a lot more hands-on, he was real hands-on about selling the licenses for the games to the highest bidder. And then he goes and has the nerve to complain to LucasArts, hey, you guys aren't making any Star Wars games. What's going on? To which the answer was, you aren't giving us the licenses to make your games. So that was kind of funny, and I think they eventually changed that up because I think that was when they finally switched over and started making the X-Wing and TIE Fighter in those games. So, yeah, funny stuff.
Now, imagine, I know Sony in the past has made some animated movies based off their games, like Heavenly Sword and stuff. Imagine if they did do H1Z1 series, even if it was animated, Saturday morning cartoon for kids or something, or a live-action movie for EverQuest next tie-in type of thing. I think that now it's no longer Sony, but with Daybreak Games, I mean, having those licenses, there's a lot of potential. And, I just want to see where they're going to go with it and what's going to roll down the road.
Yeah.
Can't wait. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. I don't really think there's anything to worry about, honestly. I don't think they're going to be gutted. I think they're going to be grown. I think the company's going to be just kind of going up and forward from here, to be perfectly honest. Not that it was necessarily doing bad under Sony, but there might have been a lot of ways they were limited. For example, they couldn't make Xbox for their games. They couldn't do it for anything other than Sony products, it appeared. And while they got some leverage and some benefits for it, like being able to get things through the approval process a little bit quicker for some of the console releases, ultimately I don't think that's going to be a very big problem. And I wonder if one of the other things that they're going to be doing is trying to use Daybreak as a publishing studio again. So we've seen a lot of third-party products come through SOE, and now it's Daybreak. We've seen a lot of them come through and fall off. Wizardry. Currently we have, of course, DCUO is going. We've got Dragon's Prophet going. They used to have Pax Nora, but they ended up selling that off or giving it away or whatever ended up happening. There was some shooter that was being advertised at SOE Live 2012 that it was basically one and done in less than 6 months. So they've been publishers before. Some stuff they did well, some stuff maybe didn't do exactly as the people had wanted to. But I could definitely see that's something that the company wants to do with Awesome independently now. Yeah, that's what I've been hearing, is that the people have been really happy with it since it was kind of taken back there. But as a publishing company, if it's something that Columbus Nova actually wants to focus on, that could be a different sort of thing. We could be seeing a lot more games starting to come through, as well as Station Cash branching out. So it's the weirdest thing. Nexon, a few years back, released this thing called Karma Coins. It looked horrible. It sounds terrible. It's just hilarious. But eventually I saw, other games are starting to use Karma Coins. So Nexon is actually using their own virtual currency, but they've licensed out with other companies to use it with them because they've already got the finances and everything secured with it. It's a weird, interesting way to go with things, and I wonder if that's something they plan to do with SC at some point.
Well, that's what I'm waiting to hear, too. I mean, a lot of messages have been on the various forums and postings as to what's going to happen to everybody's Station Cash. Any cards that you still have in stock, should you cash them in now? How long are they going to be good for? I assume they're pulling all Station Cash cards off the shelves for rebranding because it's no longer a Sony product.
I don't think they have to, actually. I don't think they do.
No, because there's still SOE. They bought SOE, so they own the SOE name now. They're just rebranding it to get Sony off. So I think they could just sell through that product, and then once it's done, they can change the name on that.
Mythforger, I hope Smedbucks is a thing.
Smedbucks is already in H1Z1. I've seen it.
I still have 3 live loot cards.
Yep.
From SOE Live.
Nice.
Well, I think the codes will always be good, as far as I know. Just like with any other thing, from banks to casinos and stuff. If you close a casino, those chips are good for X amount of years, either at another casino or a certain spot to get your money back from. So
yeah, that makes sense. They want people to come back. You walk away with chips, they're going to want you to come back with them, whether you make money on them or not. They don't care. Dephonic, were you gonna say something there?
I forgot.
Okay, no problem.
I was just saying that I doubt they'll waste money and resources by pulling product. They'll sell through it and then they'll just replace it with the new stuff. I still think that Daybreak isn't their full. They're going to be their name.
I hope not.
I hope not.
I think that was just what they went with right away to
transition
something.
Period.
Yeah.
Honestly, does it really matter though? What their name is? I hope it's not their name because it sounds stupid.
But I need to know
who
what
cares?
the convention's going to be called. I mean, Daybreak Live sounds terrible.
Are we not going to go because it sounds terrible though?
No, we're still going to go.
I'm still going to go. I really still want those crackers and goat cheese.
Yeah, to me, Daybreak sounds like the morning news show. It's like a news channel. It doesn't feel like a
Dawn would have been so much better.
Yeah.
Breaking Light. something.
Hey, as long as they didn't go with something with edge in it.
No,
like Smedley
actually,
All-Man Entertainment.
the Edge thing has been long since. Like I said earlier, Edge of Space indie game. They wouldn't have the legal forces to fight off Edge Magazine, but
Sure.
I think Edge Magazine was finally told, okay, you got to stop. You got to cease and desist on those cease and desists because that's bullshit. Because it really was. If anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, look them up. Edge Magazine.
Yeah, that
Litigious
guy got
Bastards.
pretty bad that last lawsuit.
Yeah. Ah, man. Just raid the studio? No, don't just raid the studios. They have
What's up,
security. They have like 10 guys as
Yeah,
security.
that's bad.
Like we're handing it. So, man, we've really talked about a lot of subjects here, and we're getting
Mostly non H1Z1.
well, no, everything
10% H1Z1.
everything related to Daybreak Games and the acquisition of it and all the theory crafting and stuff. That's what we're here for. That's kind of what's going to be talked about. In fact, pretty much every talk show this week is probably going to be basically on that subject. So if you want to see more of this stuff, tune in for live feature Rant tomorrow at 5 p.m. We're going to be talking about Daybreak again. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. So
It'll probably have more H1Z1 content also.
yeah, that might happen. That might happen.
I could totally go over my entire wish list of like 25 items.
Yeah.
Which town are you guys hanging out most in H1Z1? Are you hanging out in Cranberry or Pleasant Valley or going to Taco Taquito? Or
I was in
I mean,
Ranchito
I
Taquito
like-
for a while. I like that there's a lot of industry there and a lot of places, a lot of varied stuff in a tight area.
I actually like Pleasant Valley because they have the church up on the hill, and I'm all about that, being the Reverend.
I could see that.
I'm actually
Truck
holed
stop,
up in a
bottom
church in
right.
Cranberry, though.
I forgot what it's
So.
called. It's the truck stop in the southeast
Is
portion
it
of the map.
Bubba's?
Bubba's.
Is it
Bubba's truck
Bubba's?
stop.
Yeah, that's I don't know if you guys seen it, but we put a 3-story place there right before, well, 3 days later, we got trolled by like 2 people while we were off. They just wrenched the entire thing down, like all the walls, everything. But we had a nice 3-story place going up there.
Now, I saw a lot of people trying to build, on the outskirts of these towns. And I just can't believe the amount of griefers that are trying to build where loot spawns. I mean, putting their shacks up in front of a police station so you can't get into the doors. Blocking off doorways to restaurants where a gun or ammo or an axe was spawning. And you find they have these shacks and stuff built there just so people have to fight through them. I actually had it where I was in one building, ran in to loot it. Someone built 2 shacks across the front doors. So I figured I'll go out the back door. Guess what? Back door, shack. Luckily, I had an axe and I was able to take down the back wall of the shack, but it's a waste of my resources just for them to grief a building or grief players in a building. I don't know what's going to be like after this patch, but I mean, Noro, you should do a show, legendary crap shacks in H1Z1.
Yeah, I'll have to do that on a PvE server.
All over the place.
There's no way I can do that on a PvP server. I'll get sniped and ganked like most of the time before I even get to a place.
There are just too many all over. I mean, I don't know if they knew this game was going to be that good or what their plans are, but I'm afraid as to how long this stuff's going to be there.
I think they plan that people are going to do whatever they're going to do, and we're going to wipe probably about once a month until the game goes live. That's my guess.
No, they have everything is going to have the despawn timers on it. They said right now. I think it only took I think it was like 12 hours before the little white bars started showing up on all our walls and shacks. So if you didn't take the hammer to it, that stuff started degrading really quickly. So every couple days, somebody in your community has to run around repairing all the walls and everything. So I think they need to do something like that. But for it to be a full dissolve, everything on top of, say, the platform, raised platform, all the walls and the shelters need to despawn first. Then the raised platform will despawn. Because it would kind of suck that if you couldn't log in for 4 days, your entire base is gone because you didn't repair any of it.
I wish they would allow us to put a lock on one of the doors or locks on doors for houses and for the apartments. Because, I mean, there's some nice apartments where you have a balcony and a grill and stuff. Pleasant Valley, or, find a house out in the middle of nowhere, be able to craft and put locks on the door. So this way players will still have to take the same time and effort to break into the house as it would to your base. Because then I could safely put a chest down in a house, just like putting it down in a base, but with less effort.
The other thing is ladders. I'd love to just be able to put up a ladder to a second-story window or just to the roof and have roof access. That's.
What about
I
tree
just wish we
houses?
could climb.
Yeah, tree
Climb
houses.
a tree and hang out up there. Watch people run by for an hour, fun. Snipe them with a gun from a treetop.
Climb up a telephone pole, snip off that copper cable. You can probably do all sorts of stuff with. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. This is definitely. Man, where was this stuff like 20 minutes ago when we were just blabbering about business stuff? No.
Oh, if you want to get me on crafting or something like that, I could talk about that for hours, dude.
We'll have to do
I have
that.
an entire list that hit like 400 likes in the matter of 6 hours with the stuff that I wanted to add on Reddit.
You know what?
Oh yeah.
Maybe you should come back. Well, why don't you come back next week then? We'll obviously have the room for it. We can,
I go back to my. Unfortunately, I go back to my normal scheduled time
Cancel
next
it.
week. So
Gotcha.
You
Quit the
call-
job.
yeah, you caught me at a good time this week.
Cool.
Quit
Glad
the
to
job.
have you.
This
for
is
sure.
more important.
Oh no, dude! I love my 12 to 9 shift, dude. I do nothing as an IT person. I sit there for the last 6 hours of my day, just playing games on my Surface.
That's awesome. All right, so you know what? We're getting very close to wrap up. So let's start the kind of wrap up process. Everybody's gonna kind of go around, let everybody know who you are, where you can find you, what you're all about, and then we'll be bringing this party to the next location. So, Daddy-O, start us off.
Hey, streaming on Twitch TV, Daddy-O66, early morning weekdays. You can also find me at Daddy-O66 on Twitter. That's about it, Mellow, play the game, try to have fun, and rant and rave about them when I like them, and talk about them when they have some bugs and stuff. But there's a lot of good games out there. H1Z1 is definitely worth it. Get in on alpha, but expect bugs. Expect things not to work. If you're buying into an early access game, any early access game, expect stuff to be broken. So play the games to have fun, not to nitpick about this or I want that. So if you want to hear me rant more, watch my stream.
There you go. Dephonic, how about you?
I'm Dephonic. I run lethalitygaming.com. You guys remember us, Lethality Group, on Landmark. We did the Super Claim, me, Daddy-O. He's also part of Lethality Gaming. I haven't been streaming the past couple months. New move, new job. We'll get that going soon. You can find me at lethalitygaming.com, twitch.tv/Dephonic, at Dephonic on Twitter, and Kremcheck is going to make me punch him in the throat.
You forgot to mention Krem's part of lethality as well.
Yes.
I was slowly getting there, and then I started looking at him, and he's just like, his Kremcheck is also part of Lethality Gaming.
I'm the cute one.
guys. I also linked Neurotoxin. I linked my my list on there. If you would see that, if you want to talk about it next week.
For sure. We'll definitely have to check that out. And Reverend Kremcheck, why don't you give people a little bit there?
I'm Reverend Kremcheck. Read stuff under me and then follow.
There you go. And that's also where we're going to be bringing this party after I wrap up and let you all know who I am, Legendary Neurotoxin, here coming at you with live feature rant, dead feature rant, content and creations, a third of the hosting for Theory Forge, because we share that between a bunch of different channels. Particularly for H1Z1 stuff, this is the place, this is the show, and on that, we are going to be bringing this party over to Reverend Kremcheck's neighborhood. So, I guess you're going to probably be firing up here. I'm going to be shutting down. Thank you all. Everybody in chat, Thank you all for coming. It was awesome having each and every one of you. Really appreciate it. All the new follows, thank you very much. all the regulars, always great to see you. And Daddy-O, Dephonic, thank you once again for coming on. Always great to have you, Daddy-O, Dephonic. Glad I was able to catch you on a day off here. And that's it. See you all later, everybody. Thank you very much, and see ya. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a good night, everybody.